Absolutely, because it's one of the most important things you need to know how to get out of. Debt is like quicksand. Like, you talked earlier about how you were in debt and what that felt like. When I came out of college and I had $12,000 in credit card debt, it felt like the greatest weight on my shoulders. Like I was carrying like a 50-pound backpack. And how did I get out of debt? And how do you get out of debt? I will give you the very simple formula to getting out of debt. DOLP. DOLP stands for done on last payment. If you said to me, David, I've got 5 credit cards, I'd say, okay, Stephen, take out a piece of paper just like this, and I'd start listing your credit cards. I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'd list them all. Visa, MasterCard, and I'd list them, and then I want to know, how much do you owe? So I'd put the dollar amount down. And what I would do is I'd put the dollar amount down on paper, and I'd list it small to large. Then I want to know the interest rate. Now, what people say is, oh, you should take the highest interest rate and pay it off first. But I wouldn't tell you that, Stephen. I'd tell you, you take the smallest credit card. I don't care what the interest rate is.
The smallest amount.
Smallest amount. So maybe this card right here is $500. And this card down here is $3,000. I'd have you make minimum payments on every card automatically. This is really important, the automatic part. Have you go on, I'd literally go into your house, I'd open up your iPad, and I'd have you make minimum payments online automatically so that every card's paid on time. Then I'd say, Stephen, how much extra money do you have? Because I want you to put it all towards the smallest card. We're gonna get that small card paid off as fast as possible. We're gonna add all the extra money to that small card. Minimum payments on everything. Once that card's paid off, we're gonna go like this. You don't have to close the account because we don't wanna lower your credit score, but we're gonna put that card over here and never use it. Now we're gonna go to the next smallest card. Some people call this the snowball approach. The reason I teach this system is it reduces the amount of credit cards you have as fast as possible. And you see yourself make progress. It's really important to see yourself make progress when you're doing anything financially. Then I would attack the interest rates because the interest rates aren't always permanent. You can negotiate your rates lower. You can move credit cards to another card with a low interest rate. Have to be very careful though when you do that because they're waiting for you to make a slip up and make a late payment. And when they do, they'll jack the credit card interest rates back up again. You can also call up your credit card companies if you're really struggling and tell them, I'm struggling and I'd like to know if you have a program in place where I can stop the interest rate and pay these cards off in more accessible. This is basically what the nonprofit credit card counseling organizations do. But the credit card companies often have programs too for this. They'll tell you to stop using the card. They'll actually make it so you can't use the card anymore, but they'll stop the interest rate. So that approach has helped so many people get out of credit card debt. Now, I just want to say something super important because I've gone through this. When you go through the work of getting out of credit card debt, it's a huge victory. Don't go out and celebrate on the credit cards. Because I got myself out of credit card debt in college, junior year, and then I went out and celebrated and got myself back into credit card debt. And people do this all the time. Usually people get themselves in a hole at least twice, sometimes 3 times. Don't go back in a hole again. I didn't carry credit cards for 30 years, I only carried a debit card. And I had to pay it off every month.
Should these people who are in the bottom sort of 60% be thinking at all about how to make more money, how to increase their income?
Absolutely.
And what are the easiest ways to do that that you'd recommend, just from your own experience of being in the professional world? And
so my experience, and I know that you wrote this great book, Diary of a CEO, right? Anybody who hasn't read your book, you wrote this great book. What's the best way to grow your income if you have a job? It's to be good at what you do. Right? You can have a job at minimum wage. Let's pretend you work at McDonald's and you have a job working minimum wage at McDonald's. The owner of McDonald's, the guy who owns that franchise or the gal that owns that franchise, desperately needs good employees. Who becomes a manager that makes more money? the person who works really well. Now, a lot of people, well, I don't know if I want to work at McDonald's. I'm just giving it as an example. Anywhere you work, how you grow your income is you are the best at what you do. You show up early. You have a game plan at work. You work late. You do what you say you're going to do. You don't wait to be told what to do, right? Like, I've been an entrepreneur all my lifetime. The hardest thing about being an entrepreneur is what? Yeah.
Everything.
It's everything. And most people who are entrepreneurs go, well, it's, a lot of times it's hard to have good people unless you're a good leader. People are so thirsty to have jobs with purpose and meaning. And most people are actually looking for leadership. So if you can be really good at what you do, you will make more money. There's no limit to wealth in the world, right? Like, we've never seen so much wealth being created in our entire lives as right now. If I were young, a lot of people go, well, you should learn AI. Yeah, you know what? Probably you definitely should learn how to use AI, because if you don't learn how to use AI, you're going to have really limited skills and go into certain jobs. You know what else people are going to go out and do? Learn how to be a plumber. Learn how to be an electrician. Learn how to put up garage doors. I've got friends. I was just recently on a podcast with a guy who's made $1 billion putting in garage doors. And he took me through his warehouse and showed me their garage door models. And I was like, I've got a friend who makes gyms that go in garages. I just connected them. He's got a huge business making gyms for garages. There's just no limit to the amount of opportunities out there. You have to, though, get out of a stuck mind frame. I mean, you had Tony Robbins here. If there's anybody who can help you get out of a stuck mind frame, it's that guy, right? But you can't have, Zig Ziglar used to call it stinking thinking. You have to have the ability to look into the future and believe that your future can be as exciting today or better. I put up a post yesterday. I said, I would rather be an optimist and be wrong than a pessimist and be right. And you show me somebody who wants to make more money, go into the world an optimist and figure out how to go make more money.
Do you think a lot of this is a mindset at the core of it? Obviously, there are real socioeconomic factors, and there's people live in certain situations. And if I think back to, where I was born in Botswana, there's just less opportunity. And sometimes you have repressive governments and other factors that will objectively keep you stuck. But all other things being equal, how much of the game is mindset?
It always comes down to a decision. And we started by talking about my grandmother. If my grandmother hadn't made a decision at 30 that she didn't want to be poor, that she was tired of living paycheck to paycheck, if she hadn't decided that she would go out and teach herself about money and take 50 cents of her paycheck and 50 cents from my grandfather's paycheck and start investing, I wouldn't be here today. She made a decision that had a ripple effect through our family. She built financial security for herself with that one decision. She taught my father how to invest, and he was a financial advisor for over 45 years. My sister's a financial advisor. I was a financial advisor. I spent the last 30 years teaching people about money. One woman's decision had this ripple effect. So one thing I say to people who are listening, especially the moms, sometimes you got to make a decision that's not just for you. You're actually making a decision for your family. And you can come up with a list of reasons why this stuff won't work. Somebody who's watching this show or listening to us right now, they're already interested in this. That's why they're here. Now, they're here for a couple of reasons. Either A, they're hurting financially and they know they need to fix something. Great. Start where you are. Fix what needs to be fixed. Some people are like, I think I'm doing pretty well, but I'm not sure if I'm doing everything well. I've opened up my Roth IRA or I've opened up my 401k plan, putting some money away, but I don't know if I'm putting enough money away. Then you can improve what you're doing. Some people are like, I'm renting. I think I would like to buy a house someday. All right, make that a goal. I teach 3 buckets when it comes to money, 3 baskets. Pay yourself first for retirement. We haven't even talked about emergencies yet. Putting aside money for emergency purposes. Have to talk about that. You got to get more money put aside for emergency purposes, and then building a dream account. You need to put money away for your dreams. Those 3 accounts should be automated.
And on that point of having 3 accounts, you call it a future account, an emergency account, and a dream account. How much of your earnings should you be putting into each of those accounts on a monthly basis?
All right, so keep it super simple. I recommend 1 hour a day. Again, I said this earlier, it's 12.5% of your gross income.
When you say 1 hour a day, you mean 1 hour of the time you work per day?
Yeah, so whatever you make an hour,
Yeah.
if you're working a 40-hour work week, 12.5% of your gross income goes off the top into a retirement account. Now, let me just say something up for the yeah butters. They're like, I can't go from 0 to 12%. There's no way. Then start at 1%. If you're not saving right now and you're listening to us and all you do when you leave this podcast is make one decision, and that decision is I'm going to save 1% of my income, and you start that this month, your life will change. Your life will change because you start the process of making a difference. It's just like the first day you go to the gym. Now, I will tell you, if you save 1% of your income, you won't notice it. And if you did that every month for a year, at the end of the year, you would have saved 12%, and you will be saving 4 times what the average American saves, and you will be in rock star shape. Then the second hour, this is where people's minds blow up, but the second hour, so the first hour goes for the future, the second hour goes for safety and for dreams. So 30 minutes of your income, roughly 5%, should go into an emergency account. And another 5% goes into a dream account. Now, that dream account could be for buying a house, could be saving money for college, could be the vacation you want to take at the end of the year, could be getting married, could be the engagement ring. But you're putting money away for your dreams, because when you put money away for your dreams, that's how they become real.
And, the book is called The Automatic Millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
This is a book that sold over 2 million copies on its own. Why did you use the word automatic?
Unless your financial plan is automatic, it will fail. How do I know this? Because I spent 9 years as a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley, and I got to see firsthand. Everyone who came into my office with an ordinary income, who built wealth, they did it by saving automatically. Every single time a client came into my office and they said, I'm going to bring you a check every month myself, I never had a client save for more than 6 months. They stopped. Once you make the decision to automate your financial life, it works in the background. Now, here's the thing. Everybody else is already doing this to you. You go to a gym to go work out. They don't ask you to bring them money every month. They automatically bill you. You get a phone bill. They automatically bill you. Today, in many cases, when you rent, they automatically pull the money out of your account. The banks automatically take money from you for your mortgage.